Where coffee originated? Coffee is one of the most popular beverages in the world and originated in Asia. The first physical evidence of something that could be considered coffee was discovered on a shipwreck off southern Italy. Coffee beans were found inside an ancient ceramic urn dating back to 1400 BC. This particular find has fueled speculation about whether or not the Egyptians discovered coffee. In some depictions after death, pharaohs are often seen with what appears to be giant cup-bearing statuettes of two kneeling women flanking each other that hold out cups belonging to them like servants waiting on their masters, which would imply some drinking ritual involving these items from the beginning. The native land of what most people now know as coffee is East Africa, specifically Yemen. Coffee beans, the seed pods which are loaded with raw coffee, were used in the drink kahwa, which had been produced in that region for centuries before a new crop was cultivated and harvested by a young plant boy named Khalid ibn Al-Walid from Malabar on his father's farm in 850 AD, where he would develop and gather the first known batch of Coffea arabica seen outside its native range. The beans were tested by both Shams al-Din ibn Mawli Balawi shares under Safi ad-Din Argan shortly before travel westward too. Coffee originated in a small region of southwestern Ethiopia, near Mount Beagle. Arab traders introduced coffee to the rest of the world in AD 1500. It spread to Ottoman lands and West Africa before becoming popular in Europe during the 18th century. Until all these years ago, coffee was costly, but now we enjoy it just about anywhere for about anything. Where coffee comes from? No two cups of coffee are exactly alike because they're based on different origins and varieties with strengths that depend on how they were roasted and then brewed. So no matter what way you take your cup of joe, or iced cappuccino, you can't help but smile while indulging in this caffeinated gem juice. The two main types of coffee are the Arabica and Robusta plants. Arabica coffee is believed to come from Ethiopia, while Robusta came from Central America. The acidity levels in Arabica beans are higher than in the Robusta, leading to different flavors as well. Lastly, the better quality coffee has a shorter life expectancy due to its taste when compared to cheaper alternatives, such as instant. Coffee is a delicious drink made by brewing the seeds of the coffee plant. A coffee bean will turn into 1 cup of brewed, black coffee in 3 minutes and is known for its caffeine content. Coffee is made from coffee beans, which are the seeds of a tropical shrub related to cocoa. Cocoa beans grow on trees in pods that hang under the branches. After ripening and being harvested, their outer shells are removed, and they are sorted into 2 categories: natural, ripe, or free milling, underripe. The former gets lots of attention because it brings out more flavor when brewed. However, free milled cacao can make a bar of more decadent milk chocolate. For both varieties, the individual beans must be roasted before they become entirely edible. They are then finely ground with hot water to produce coffee as we know it today. Where is coffee grown? Depending on the flavor of the coffee, this could include places like Mexico, Indonesia, Colombia, Ethiopia, or is otherwise sourced. Coffee beans are derived from a plant called the Coffea arabica and are mainly grown in Brazil. Coffee can also grow in other parts of the world, but it will not have every flavor you typically find when exploring more traditional regions. Many consumers insist that only arabica beans make for an enjoyable cup of coffee, but this may be a matter of personal opinion. Coffee is grown by country, but it's primarily grown in Central America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Coffee plants are propagated from harvested beans, meaning that seedlings of the plant can produce more plants with harvestable beans, although the freshly purchased seeds often require a specific climate to grow. The traditional regions noted for coffee production were Mexico, Chiapas, Guatemala, Colombia, and Brazil. There has been an expansion into African countries such as Ethiopia, where Kaffa province produces about 1 to 2% of the world's Arabica seasonings. A few places exist in South America outside these traditional realms. Colombia makes up 43% of the total Colombian. Coffee is grown mainly in Africa, most specifically in Uganda, Ethiopia, and Colombia. In the US, more than 75% of coffee is grown in Hawaii. Beans from these regions produce a distinct taste that differs from other bean varieties. The best tasting coffees are made from beans with specific aging periods to account for their different flavors, which can be bitter or sweet depending on whether they were dried too slowly or too quickly. Coffee will also showcase varied tastes based on where the beans were harvested, since altitude, soil composition, temperature differences during harvest, and post-harvest, drying, processes significantly influence how coffee tastes. From where coffee beans come? Coffee beans come from coffee, although green coffee beans also go by the name coffee cherries. They're small and round, with a complex central pit that holds their seeds, hence why they are often called cherries. The coffee cherry ripens on the tree like any other fruit, turning a deep red. It's thought this color change causes animals drooling for the sweet sugary taste to chew up the bean and spit it out. In any case, this chewed up seed then falls off into a pile of foliage for dry processing later. To get green coffee beans, you need to roast them at 430 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. A higher temperature will make your brew have more flavor. Coffee beans come from coffee. Or, more specifically, coffee bean plants. The plant is native to Africa but now grows in many areas in the Americas, including Asia and Hawaii. The plant seeds are developed inside a parchment shell that goes through 3 growth phases before it reaches its final stage of maturation, which takes about 9 months to produce a fruit containing fully mature seeds or beans. Coffee beans are the seeds from coffee plants, and they're usually found in clusters. The plantations where coffee is grown depend on the species, though most of them are tropical evergreens. Coffee was first cultivated in Ethiopia around 1200 AD and exported for trade to Europe. Coffee beans come in 2 general varieties, Robusta and Arabica, which differ based on how quickly they mature, the size of their seeds, as well as caffeine content. Both taste great when brewed a certain way. As you drink your iced coffee or latte today, where did your favorite beans come from? The best coffees hail from Hawaii's Kona region. Of course, all other parts do a commendable job too. Which coffee has maximum caffeine? There isn't just one coffee that has the most caffeine. It depends on the person's preference. Many people like to add cream and sugar, others enjoy it pure black, and some even drink decaf. Many factors come into play, but there is no one answer to this question for everyone, as each individual has different tastes in flavorings and textures when preparations are involved with coffee beans or ground coffee. Preparations are involved. Yes, they are. Caffeine exists predominantly in ground coffee beans, including those on grocery store shelves as instant iced coffees, where about half bag possesses 100 mg of caffeine per 6 ounces cup of brewed coffee prepared at home, or 2 teaspoons per 12 ounces. Coffee beans contain around 100 mg, 200 mg of caffeine per cup. Multiple studies, like this one published in the Journal of Food and Chemical Toxicology, have extensively documented caffeine's benefits, so you may want to consider getting your fix from that instead. One of the most popular and least expensive coffees is coffee. While green beans can be purchased in larger quantities, many people choose to purchase and roast their coffee beans. To reduce caffeinate levels, more roasted beans are needed. There's much debate about which type of coffee has the most caffeine. It all depends on how it's processed, but there are a few different types that will give you a lot more juice than even your morning cup of Joe, Robusta, Kona Blend, Supremo coffee.